And now I will call on my friend and colleague, Professor Ashford.
Well, thank you. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
My camera is not working and my picture is much more handsome than I am now today. Um, First of all, I think I have nothing to contribute to the knowledge of that most of you have on this. I feel like I'm going to be repeating. And so I could say if Francis didn't have enough time, I'd be glad to cede some time. But just make these are simply some points that are really in some ways for the generalist. Um, I think first of all, it's obviously critical to distinguish between bullying, which everybody thinks is, and mobbing. Mobbing is a whole different dimension than bullying. The institution, the university, any institution, but the universities um, have a selective interest in stopping bullying, but their interest is almost always with the mobbers when the issue is mobbing, and and I think that's important to recognize. Um, the the institution um, has the interest in simply protecting the mobbers because there are more of them and they're more established, and it's easy there. And the other thing is that the institution has the interest in promoting um, the mobbing of certain people in different contexts. Um, and it's important to recognize that dynamic. Um, the the fear of being mobbed is obviously um, a fear that totally inhibits academic freedom and tenure. Um, and until there's protection against mobbing, recognized protection against mobbing, those fears will simply never go away. Um, the the issue that I think transcends um, the mobbing, the problem of mobbing, is the problem of orthodoxy. Um, Now, you need a certain amount of orthodoxy to have a discipline. So disciplines have a natural um, incentive to be prescriptive in that sense. But the um, the difficulty with that is that um, great progress is thwarted, retarded, sometimes postponed for centuries because of orthodoxy, and that is a difficulty. Now, one of the things that I believe is true, and although the experiences some of you have had may belie this, it seems to me that, and this may be well recognized, that there's a natural common interest between the legal way of thinking about things um, and the work of that focuses on the problems of mobbing. Um, the One of the essence I always teach my students this is one of the essences of the adversary system is that there's always another way of looking at something, and the only limitation on this is the way of looking at it cannot be frivolous. It, if it's plausible, then the law has an obligation uh, to give it content, to give it support, to give it advocacy. And that's where I think the connection between work of mobbing and academic freedom is at its strongest. The I don't think that there are many cases of problems in academic freedom and tenure that do not have associated with them a problem of mobbing. I think it, and there are not that many organizations concerned about academic freedom, but one of my missions is to enlist a stronger connection between the people who believe in academic freedom, and that there's a legal establishment for that, and the people who understand the perils of mobbing. Um, so, and when we talk a little bit later on in this session about organizing a group of researchers on academic on the mobbing, I think it's probably wouldn't be a bad idea to have a subcommittee specifically addressing the issue of academic freedom and tenure, special focus on that, and a connection, an open connection between the work of this group and organizations like the ACLU, like FIRE, and others that are concerned about um, the rights of individuals. I think there's research that indicates that sometimes mobbing can be uh, uh, inhibited if just people step up and call it what it is, a champion in that sense, and that's an issue of defense, and that's the role of the lawyer. So I hope when this organization, which I hope does get off the ground, uh, comes to reality, more robust reality, that we make a special effort to reach out to lawyers and legal institutions and legal organizations that are interested in providing that defense. I think the more the legal academy understands the importance of the work that this organization and these researchers are doing, the closer we'll come to some positive relationship uh, in the universities, uh, and come to a conclusion, come to a recognition that the orthodoxy that is fostered by the protection of mobbing uh, is an orthodoxy that is very harmful not only to the individuals that's up, but to society. I'll just say a real quick word about my work on social economics. One of the great um, problems, I think, in our society today is the problem of economics. And we have an economic orthodoxy that says either it's trickle down or it's redistribution. That's to say, it's a dichotomy. It's a false dichotomy, but it's an existent one. And there are professors, brilliant professors, that were denied tenure, had to go elsewhere because they were on either the wrong side of that issue in one university or another. And that has to be recognized, and we need to be able to protect that. So I do hope that I wish this group well. I'm not a researcher, but I'm certainly a supporter. And I believe that it's imperative that that its understanding be better understood. Its knowledge and expertise be better understood by the legal academy, because there's a natural connection that I think can be spawned. And of course, if you have more understanding among the lawyers, then it will be easier to defend the people who are the victims of mobbing. So I don't really, the only other thing I have to say, by the way, is, and maybe this has been talked about, um, much reality is created in the context of faculty meetings and the social events that uh, um, and discussions that go on. Uh, One of the characteristics of a mobbing situation is selective interruption. I know of professors who were so mobbed that if they spoke at a faculty meeting, somebody would interrupt them. And they never could speak. The interruption. And that's a problem, and it needs to be dealt with. And I do think that the light of day is an important part of remedying that. So I don't really have more to say about that. I will say within my own work, we have, if my own work on inclusive capitalism becomes better understood, we will recognize that economically we've been wrong since Adam Smith. And that's a pretty fundamental orthodoxy. And we've also been wrong since Karl Marx. So if we're wrong from Adam Smith and Karl Marx are wrong with this, if there are other alternatives that are suppressed, then that may be the fears that we have about our democracy. May be what is fed by that orthodox myopia. So that's all I have to say. Thank you. Thank you. I don't think I've said anything that people here don't already understand. But I'm a great fan and will do what I can to help the group.
Thank you.
Thank you.